On conversation number 31 with King Delante Brady, we dive into his journey of elevation and evolution and how his process helped him become the investor, the financial analyst, and entrepreneur that he is today. Tap in. The Financial Fashion brand, man, was created to empower people to be the best version of themselves. And we do that by promoting positivity, self-improvement, and financial literacy. And we also focus on mindset, faith, education, and wealth, because those are the principles and those are the things that you can learn to be successful in life and in business. So with that being said, take a look at our website at fnfstore.com, where you can find our apparel, you can find things about our company, and much more. Back to the show. You are now tuned in to We Invest Different Podcast, where we have high-level conversations. I'm Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm Victor Thomas II.
Let's tap in. Welcome to another conversation of We Invest Different Podcast. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And we are very excited this day to have a great conversation with King Delante Brady. I won't take up too much time because I want the King to introduce himself. So we are here this morning to tap in to the process and the journey of his story and his testimony so he can add value to us. So without further ado, we want to introduce to y'all Delante Brady. Delante, are you there, sir?
I'm here. What's going on, everybody? How y'all feeling?
We feeling great, man. We feeling great, feeling good. It's early in the morning. Energy is vibrant. What's going on with you, King?
Same here, man. I got some rest. I feel good. I'm ready to go, ready to pour into the people and give any value that I can.
Good. So first off, I want to ask everybody how they're doing. King Vic, how you doing? And then we can just go around the room.
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. Blessed, man. Honestly, man, I'm feeling motivated right now, man, because I actually checked out. I actually made a list of books yesterday.
Nice.
Actually, from looking at your page, Delante, I saw one of your posts talking about some suggested books, man. So I went and snatched a few of them yesterday. So I'm excited today about starting to read them. So I just want to thank you for that post, man, and giving me that boost of motivation, man. So I'm feeling motivated this morning.
Oh yeah, no problem.
That's right, man.
What's up?
That's good, man. And we already know we're gonna tap into the knowledge that he got from those books. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in. So like I said, we feeling where everybody is good, and that's a good place to start. And you said you're doing well today too, Delante, correct?
Absolutely, Cabisa.
Okay, cool, great. So tapping in. Now, the message of today's conversation is about the journey and the process to get anywhere that you're going in life. Because to get from one destination to another, there has to be movement, there has to be action, and there is a journey. And that journey, it does take consistency, persistence, and vision. So tapping into that, I do want to get to know the Delante before the transformation of financial literacy and entrepreneurship, and before you became as knowledgeable as you are now. So really take us back to childhood, how you were raised, your parents, education. Take us back to young Delante.
Man, so I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. Was born and raised there. And my father wasn't in the home, but I seen him every once in a while. I did grow up with two parents though. I had a stepfather and my mom, and then I had three brothers. And in the beginning, we stayed in the projects in Akron, in Barberton. It's a place called Snydertown. And from like kindergarten to like the second grade, that's where I was at. So I remember growing up with roaches. My mom was young when she had me, She was 18 when she had me, and she was single at the time. I remember, different men coming in and out the house. So I seen a lot at an early age. A lot happened to me, but thankfully my grandmother was also there in my life. I wasn't always with my mom. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and that's where I got a lot of good qualities from. She was old school. She always corrected me on my speech, made sure that I, was doing my homework. Like, she just taught me a lot of good things and a lot of good values. And I give credit to my mom as well. I know she did her best that she could, but a lot of credit goes to my grandmother. Rest in peace. She passed away 3 years ago. But yeah, that's really where the foundation started because of my grandmother. She kept me in the church every Sunday, and down to her last days, she told me to stay in the Bible, get to know my God, and that to seek the kingdom first. So I moved to the west side of Akron, Ohio. Anybody listening to this from Akron, I went to Bookto High School, aka Crookto. I came up through Erie Island, Perkins, and the Perkins and Bookto, they were known as, like, just rough schools, gang affiliation, things like that. I wasn't one of those kids that was like in the in crowd. I tried to stay to myself. I wasn't a scholar. I really like I coasted my way through school. I was smart enough to know exactly what I needed to do to get by, but I put minimal effort in. My whole academic career, all the way up to the point that I graduated. I barely graduated, and that that actually has a lot to do with why I go so hard now, because I didn't apply myself in school and I knew what I was capable of. That's why I really go as hard as I do now, with just trying to be the best version of myself, because I coasted through school my whole academic career. But man, kicked out the house when I was 16. Um, and I'm jumping all over the place, but yeah, I was kicked out the house when I was 16. That was a major event. I ended up, moving in with the girl that I was staying with at the time, and I was working for. I had got my man. You know what? Let me rewind. Let me rewind.
Okay,
I'm gonna
that's cool.
rewind back.
That's cool because what I'm hearing is I hear a lot of these stories, and when I talk to different people, man, I'm hearing that a lot of us men got trauma in common. There's a lot of common. There's a lot of trauma in men that are successful. So like you're really tapping into and being very transparent. So I really thank you for being as transparent that you are. So I really want you to continue. CEO here, tapping in. I just wanted to remind all of our supporters and all of our listeners to share our podcast and encourage everybody to subscribe and get these great conversations. Back to the show.
Got my first job when I was 15 and a half. As soon as I was able to work, I had got a job. And I had always, I was shoveling snow, I was cutting grass before I could even work, because I didn't grow up in a household with a lot of money. I had three other brothers. My parents, they went to work, but I don't believe that they were good, with managing the money. And so we we had a lot of hard times. There was a lot of things that I couldn't get, a lot of clothes that I didn't have, shoes that I didn't have. I got talked about at school, stuff like that. Things that morph you into the person to, get money. So I started working when I was 15 and a half as a boy helper, a janitor, and from that point on, I always worked, always had a job throughout my whole high school career. Um, I bought my first car, put myself through driving school, all that good stuff. And I think what happened was I grew up too fast, and then me and my stepfather, we started to clash because of that. And my mom, you know, it came to a point where it was like it was him or me, and it was like she kicked me out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's really what it came down to. She kicked me out, and I think it had a lot to do with me being rebellious, but it also had a lot to do with survival for them and survival for her. You know, I'm one less mouth to feed. One less
Mm.
mouth to feed. I remember coming home one day and she was in the kitchen cooking, and she was like, "You gotta go." And I was like, "What? I'm only 16." I'm like, what you mean? I gotta go? Like I'm begging and pleading with her because I'm 16. I don't know how to live on my own. I don't know, where I'm gonna go. I know I was being unruly and I was disagreeing with a lot of the things and the rules, but yeah, I was forced. I was forced out of the house when I was 16. And luckily I was dating a girl who was older than me, and I ended up moving down on college campus. But like I said, I always kept a job. I had my car, and I was working towards becoming a plumber because my dad, my biological father, he's a mason, and he always encouraged me. He was like, "You need to get a trade. If you're not gonna go to college, get you a trade doing something, whether it's masonry, plumbing, electricity, because we this economy is always gonna need that." And so I went through a vocational. I worked for the Akron Sewer Department as like a intern, and I was supposed to get that job. I was promised that job out of high school. It was a 3-year vocational. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I got my license, and I ended up getting my son's mother pregnant at the time, our senior year. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm about to graduate high school. I'm going right into a city job because our whole life a city job, a government job, like that's like if you got that, you got a good job, you set for life, right? and and I touch on that later too, but yeah, so I got a son on the way and everything is good, and then they like, we don't have a position for you here.
Dang. Whoa.
Yeah, so this whole
Whoa.
time I'm thinking I'm set, I'm good, and you know it just everything went down the drain. um I remember moving in with my aunt. I started drinking a lot. I started smoking. I really like went into a like kind of like really a depression. I was collecting unemployment benefits, but luckily for me, I was a hard worker. I might not have applied myself, as a student, but as a worker, I was always a good laborer. And they put in a good word for me. Even though they couldn't give me the job, they basically, the director sent a letter out to different companies around Ohio, and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District ended up reaching out to me right before my son was born. I remember going up there in my beat down Cutlass Supreme that would cut off randomly because it had like some electrical problems. I'm in Akron. I got to go to an interview in Cleveland, Ohio. I ain't never been up here before. This place like an hour and a half away, and I just, man, that was a terrible ride. But I made it there by the grace of the Most High. That but man, the Most High done been there my whole life. But anyways, I made it to the interview, and I let them know that I had a son on the way. I was the only black interviewee, and I was the youngest too. And I was honest with them. I was professional, but I let them know, where I came from, what I wanted to do, that I had a child on the way, and they did the interview, and a week later they let me know that I had the job, and I was at that job for 10 years before I walked away from it finally, and that was a whole journey. But I'm gonna stop there, and I don't know if there's any questions that y'all want to ask or any comments, but
Definitely, man. Like I said earlier, I appreciate you for being as transparent as you are. And I do want to dive into, that moment of where you said you was there at 10 years, right? You was there 10 years.
mm-hmm.
So at the end of those 10 years, tap into what happened at the end of those 10 years, because I really want to get into when you transitioned into actually changing your mindset and actually leveling up into thinking about wealth, building legacy, building family. When did you get to that place where you started to understand the real the real things that you were supposed to do to level up your family.
Right. So, like I was saying earlier, government job, that's like the pinnacle for us, right? That's not the pinnacle, but that's like a really good thing. So I came into this job uh just believing all these things that I had heard about it, that, and even the guys that were working there that I work with, they like, you put in your 30 years, you retire, you good. Just keep your job, just show up on time. Um Same thing that I experienced with my parents. I have a very rebellious spirit against wrongness. Like I don't have a problem with authority, but I have a problem with what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Right.
And you telling me that basic, you know what I mean? Like what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I'm a person of justice. I'm a person of equality. And when I got to this job, the pay was good. Everything was good, but as a 18-year-old kid coming into corporate America, I had never worked in corporate America. I worked for Pizza Hut. I worked for it, but in an environment like this, I started to see those things that we talk about with Willie Lynch and the slave plantation, and you know what I mean. Just a lot of unfairness. I ended up getting blackballed as far as like my career because I came in young and because I was rebellious. I was late. I had some marks on my basically on my record, and I realized that that was the furthest that I was going with that place. Then on top of that, I separated. I had separated from my son's mom, and so now I'm paying child support. Now I'm living on my own. Now I'm paying all of my own bills, and I'm living check to check. I live check to check from out of my career. I probably lived check to check like for 7 years, and I really don't know how I made it without losing that job, living check to check. I was good with managing my money though. Even though nobody had taught me, I knew that in order to survive, I needed to, take care of the business. I need to, pay my bills. I need to pay the bills that I need to pay. I need to not blow my money because it's just me. And if I lose this job, I don't have anywhere to go back to. And so I'm going through this job, and I'm getting older. I go from a young man to really a young adult, and I got presented with a business opportunity. It was a network marketing opportunity. One of my friends, his name was Dave Elks. He invited me to, I think, what was that company called? It was one of those network marketing companies where you sell power drinks and different energy drinks and different products. And I was introduced to the personal development side of it. He gave me this book. It was called The Magic of Thinking Big. And that was I didn't read books, but I was man, I done skipped the whole part about where I adopted my brother and everything. But I'm gonna try to we'll touch on that too. But this book, when I read this book, it really expanded my mind, and it came to me at the really the right time because I was trying to figure out a way to make more money. I did aspire to be a business owner, but I had no mentors. I had no examples. I had no idea, what to do with. Like I had no resources. So I read this book, and one of the biggest things that I took away from the magic of thinking big is belief and believing. Even if you don't know how something is going to happen, even if you don't know how you're going to achieve something, if you believe it and you see it and you visualize it, things will start to manifest. At that time, I was getting away from religion. At that time, that's because it's a time that I strayed away from my walk with the Most High, and I got into these worldly beliefs that they really all go back to the Bible anyway. But what this book taught me.
Are you stressed, anxious, or depressed? Well, here's some good news for you. We started a mental health movement called MH10, and we encourage people to pay more attention to their mental health. So do this for us. Take at least 10 minutes per day to take a walk in nature, a jog, run, or just meditation to decrease your stress, because stress is one of the leading causes of chronic physical and mental illnesses in the body. So if you want to join the movement, you can also post on social media, post your 10 minutes by using hashtag MH10 or mental health 10 minutes.
It taught me belief and the importance of believing in things. Like even if even if you don't know how you're gonna get it, and it seems impossible. Like you gotta believe, you gotta visualize it, and things will start to manifest. And what I was saying was I started to get away from my walk with the Most High, and I started to, really I started focusing on manifestation and things like this, which it really all goes back to the Bible anyway. We have that power. Like God gave us that power to be able to create. We're made in the Most High's image. But
Right.
I picked up the concept from this book, right? And so it was at that point that I started looking up places that I wanted to visit, places that I wanted to travel. Even though I'm living check to check, and it ain't no way I'm gonna be able to do this. I aspired to do it. I started attaching my emotion and my feeling to it, and I started to attract different people. I started to attract different things, and I found myself in, certain situations or certain settings and environments that allowed me to basically open me up to network marketing, things that I would never do. I would never go out and talk to a random person, or I would never get on a radio show, and talk. Like in school, I was a very shy kid. I was afraid. I wasn't confident. Um, but this opened me up to that, and that was really the start. That was really the start of that journey with that book, and Dave introducing me to network marketing.
Okay, cool, King. Man, you've been through a lot, King. You've been through a
Yeah,
lot, and I thank God that you didn't give up. I thank God that you didn't give up, because if you would have gave up, I wouldn't have never met you. King Victor right here wouldn't have never met you, and you wouldn't have the wealth of information that you have now. So tapping into the other side of your journey, once you learned these things and once you started tapping into personal development,
mm-hmm.
when did you actually become an entrepreneur?
I became an entrepreneur when I met Rachel, because Rachel, my wife Rachel, I know and anybody who's listening to the call, um, we met 7 years ago. We met 7 years ago, and she was already an entrepreneur. I was working for the sewer district, and that was something I wanted to do. And so she was doing Herbalife, and I was boxing at the time. I had just lost the Golden Gloves. I had just lost the Golden Gloves. I came up short, and she had this product that basically it gives you energy, helps your performance, and but it was also a business side to it. And so before I got into entrepreneurship, and before me and Rachel even became intimate, I was a customer. I was one of Rachel's customers, and so I was buying the products, and I was taking the products. I was listening to her. She was getting me together, and I seen the results. I seen the results. I felt the energy, and I actually went on to win the 2016 Golden Gloves that year, in Cleveland, Ohio. And
Wow.
yeah, me and Rachel, we had really, like, we became intimate, and uh I asked her if I could get in on the business. She didn't want me to, though. She didn't want to mix our relationship with the business. But I pleaded with her. I'm like, I really want to start some kind of business, because I want to get away from my job. I don't want to do this. I don't want to keep living check to check. I don't want to keep having to get up and brush my car off in the snow and go to work and deal with these people at work. So um, she allowed me to get in with the business, and she taught me a lot. I started going to these events, and man, it's a long journey from that, you know, because we ended up starting Happy Hour Nutrition. Um, I helped a lot of people. We helped a lot of people lose weight. We helped a lot of people get healthier. We helped a lot of people get on track to living a healthier lifestyle. Even though at the time the product that we were serving wasn't the best, but we didn't know. You know, we thought that we were doing a good thing. The intentions were good, but behind helping a lot of people, we also were able to bring in income from that. And anybody listening, if you decide to provide some type of service, do something that's going to give back to the people. Do something that's going to improve people's life. Like do something that is not just about the money. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you gotta attach a deeper why to it than just the money, because money is not enough to keep going, to stay motivated. Seeing people get results, changing people's lives, seeing people happy, that's what's going to be a lot of the fuel that's going to keep you going. That should keep you going. You know, if you're really passionate about and genuine about helping people. But so yeah, we did that. We ended up opening up a shop, Happy Hour Nutrition. That was our first business. I was working pretty much 20 hours a week, and it was I'm going to work full time, but I'm also, you know, we running this business. And after 2 years, we ended up closing down. That was one of our failures as entrepreneurs, and I I didn't know we didn't know what we were going to do, because we had put everything, you know, into that. We had put everything into that business, and this was like my way out of my job, and that was it. It's like it was like now what? Now what do we do?
That was a brick and mortar.
Yep, it was a brick and mortar in Maple Heights, Ohio.
Wow. Wow. Continue, King.
Yep, Happy Hour Nutrition. And so I ended up injuring myself at my job, and I was off on medical leave or disability. And during that time, we Rachel wanted to go with her family down in Atlanta, and we also had some friends that we did Herbalife with, Mike and Ange, who were also down in Atlanta at the time. Now we did Herbalife with Mike and Ange, but they ended up breaking away, and they were some of our best. They were our best, really one of our best producers. Um, they, you know, very influential people, genuine, like really similar to me and Rachel. But we went down there. They ended up breaking away because of they disagreed with some of the ingredients in the products. And at the time, we was like, you know, no, that's not. We wasn't getting into that. We disagreed, or we agreed to disagree, and we kind of went our separate ways. But a couple years later, this happened, and we ended up going down to Atlanta, and they wanted to introduce another opportunity to us. And this opportunity was I'm Academy, which dealt with foreign exchange, stocks, cryptocurrency. And this was something that I always wanted to get into. I've always been interested in that, but you know, I never got around to it. And so I'm like, oh yeah, we got to meet with them. So we went down there, visited Rachel's family, and we ended up meeting with Mike and Ange. And when they broke everything down to us, I'm like, let's go. I'm ready to start like right now. I remember I had to actually chase them down. Like I've never had to chase somebody down to give them money for something. But I'm like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to learn this. And that was the beginning of me learning and becoming more aware and more conscious of financial literacy, the financial markets, cryptocurrency, and things like that.
Wow. Wow. And then, okay, you talked about your work ethic and all of this stuff. So when you met the king who introduced you to the I Am Academy, I'm sure
Mm.
you went back home and got your skill set together. So let's tap into that skill set. How did you actually get your actual skill set together to be a good trader in the market, you know, to make good decisions in the market, etc.?
I invested in the education, man. What he presented to me, or what Mikhail and his wife Angie presented to us, was an academy. It's called I'm Academy. I'm not a representative. I'm not affiliated with this company anymore. for anybody listening. But you know, it was an academy. It's like going to college, and I learned from, you know, people who had done it, people who were successful. I had a lot of teachers to choose from. Started off with the basics, learn how to trade foreign exchange, learn how to trade and invest in cryptocurrency through this academy. I put a lot of time in because, mind you, I'm off on disability. And so I'm like, man, I'm about to try to run it up as much as I can before I go back to work, because possibly I might not have to go back to work, you know, if I do this right. And so I put my all into it. I'm a heavy gamer too. I got my first game system when I was 6 years old. It was a Sega Genesis, and I gamed my whole life. I'm still a gamer to this day, but it's on pause now. Just like I put it on pause at this moment. I had a Xbox at the time. Man, I knew how serious it was what I was doing, and I knew that if I kept this Xbox, it was gonna interfere because I needed to put my all into learning this skill set. So I sold my Xbox. I sold my Xbox and everything because it had got that serious. I was like, I really need to focus on this. And for me to sell my Xbox is serious because I'm a real gamer. I'm a real gamer. So sold my Xbox. And I mean, I was training from sun up to sundown. Just like I went to work, that's how I was studying. That's how I was watching the markets. Like, I utilized all of my time that I had off of work while I was getting paid. I utilized that time to learn the skill set, you know, in hopes to walk away from my job. And yeah, that was that. I learned it. Um, got back to work. I hadn't really got as far as being able to walk away from my job, but it wasn't long after I came back to work that I was able to walk away, you know, with confidence. Like I said, once I had became aware about finances, I started looking into my retirement, you know, and just looking at the future. And I felt like my retirement would be better handled by me.
Right.
And
Right.
so, yeah, so with all the information that I had learned, you know, we were still building businesses on the side. Rachel at the time, she was selling sweet potato black bean burgers out of the house. People loved them, and you know, she was making a nice amount of income from that. It was also a network marketing opportunity with Heim Academy, so we were bringing in income from that. And then we had got into the cryptocurrency and the forex. And once I pretty much pulled my retirement out of 10 years, I took the penalty. Um, I mean, that was it. I was pretty much going on faith. And even within those 3 years, it was times that I almost went back to work. I won't dive too deep into it right now, but yeah, I ended up putting in my 2 weeks notice with my job. I was honest about my experience with the job, and I actually changed some policies. I was the result of some policies being changed and some things being changed because of what I had wrote in my 2 week notice or in my departure.
Mm.
Wow.
So
Man, I really I can't help but think about, the vision behind all of this, because it seems like your life was just it was growing without, I mean, it was just really just flowing. It was really just flowing. I don't feel like you planned any of this, did you? Like, I
mm-mm.
don't feel
that
like.
and that's exactly why I know the Most High is real, and the Most High has had His hand in my life this whole time. Never forsake me, even the times that I didn't, you know, believe and got off into other worldly things and other beliefs. Like, He never left me, never left me. Always been there, all the way to, you know, to where I am today, right now.
So
That's right.
why so in your words, okay, like why did you start building business? Like, why? Like, what was your vision? What was your end goal? Like, what did you feel like you was going towards, besides, just making enough money to pay bills and to be just okay to live?
Right. Uh, like you said, I didn't plan. I didn't plan any. I didn't plan everything. So what I was thinking, I was trying to escape. I was trying to escape survival mode. I was trying to escape what I felt like was I felt like I was in prison. You know, working for it. It came to a point where I felt like I was in prison, going to work every day, clocking in. The pressure of having to get to work on time, having to leave somebody that I love and kiss goodbye. You know, when I met Rachel, it was like I wanted to spend all day. I wanted to spend all day with her, but I had to leave. So for me, what was driving me, I wanted freedom. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be free. Like, and within that, I was introduced to helping other people. And so now I got something else that's driving me, wanting to help people. Um, right. So it was a combination of things. And then once I became more financially literate and I was able, my view got expanded. Like, you know, my view got expanded. I was able to see further. And when you start looking past a paycheck, when you start looking past Friday, and you start looking past next month, and you start looking into next year, and then you start looking into the next 10 years and the next 20 years, it changes what you do in the present, right? It affects what you do in the present. And so becoming more financially literate, uh, meeting my wife, Rachel, wanting to have a family, wanting to, you know, do things different and correct my wrongs that I've done, want to have really a true family structure. Because I know I had a son, but my son, I'm an estranged father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not in the house with my son, and that's not the way that it's supposed to be. And so I want to do it the right way. And now we thinking about wealth for the future. Now we thinking about building wealth for generations. And all of these things came together, wanting to become free, wanting to help other people, wanting to build something for the generation that comes after me. These are the things that are driving me today.
Wow, man.
Word.
Your
Hey,
story.
I got a question for you, Delante.
What's up, Vic?
Did you ever have a moment where you was like, okay, I don't know how this gonna work out. Maybe I need to go back to work.
Absolutely. A
Okay,
few
how did you push
times
through that?
I was able to push through that. I'm not gonna lie. And I know everybody might not have a significant other or a partner, but Rachel, my wife, pulled me through that. When I wanted to quit trading, I blew a $3,000 account, and at the
Sheesh.
time, yeah, at the time that was a lot of money to me. Like it hurt. It hurt a lot, and my aunt had just died. It was a lot going on, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work, you know. And I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit, and Rachel, she talked me out of it. She
Mm.
talked me out of it. She was like, no. And then it was times where I, the post that I put up the other day, even that, the transition of going from, you know, working full time to becoming a full time entrepreneur. Now I'm around my wife 24/7. So that's a new learning curve for me and her. And so that caused a strain on our relationship. And that was something that I had to learn and get past. But during that, as we were going through that, I was like, man, you know what? Maybe I just need to go back to work. Like maybe this is not, you know, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I need to go back to work. And even though we were into it, she stopped me from doing that as well.
Mm.
So it's very important. It's very important. I guess on this, I can touch on how it's very important to have a significant other. The family structure is very important. I feel like a lot of, specifically speaking about Black men, a lot of us we grow up seeing this facade of having a lot of different women, and it really leads us into doing the wrong things. And it's not, you know, it's counterproductive to what we're actually supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be building wealth.
Right.
That's it. That's in the word. We're supposed to be leaving something for our children. We supposed to find a good wife. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. And I feel like in this story that I'm telling right now, that's a perfect example of that. So to be honest with you, Rachel, man, my wife stopped me.
Hey, that's good
My,
stuff, bro. That's good stuff. And it made me think of something else because it sounds like you and your woman are in business together.
mm,
And actually, me and my lady, we're looking to take that same route. And one
right.
thing that I've noticed is that sometimes we may disagree. So I'm
Mm,
pretty sure that you have been faced with that same thing with your wife as well. So I was just wondering, what are some tactics or something that you picked up to get through, when y'all disagree to still get to the goal?
right. Man, that's a tough question. So with with what me and Rachel did, because we did disagree so much, we went off into our own lane. And I'm not saying that this is the best answer for everybody, but I handle the finances. I'm more over, teaching about the financial markets. I do the budget, I handle the finances, and she's more focused on coaching people, health, cooking. And so we went off into our own lanes, but we still together. It's still things that we do together. And so it's like I have my own. I was like, I gotta break off and I gotta have my own. I gotta have my own thing
That's right.
because when I met Rachel, I wasn't an entrepreneur. She built me up and she helped me to become an entrepreneur. But then it turned into, okay, now I need to prove to myself that I can do something on my own. I need
Right.
to prove to myself that I can do something on my own and that I can bring something to the table on my own. And that's when I created the Snipers Anonymous course. And now I'm getting into, consulting. And she continued, on the health journey. And same thing. I never changed as far as living a healthy lifestyle. I'm just not over that. That's not something that I focus or that I heavily promote on social media, but it all ended up coming together. It came full circle. We separated for a while as far as business goes, but it came full circle, and now we're back together and we're working together, leveraging off of each other, and because it all comes. We need health, we need wealth,
Yes,
Okay.
we need the Most High.
That's right. That's right.
for sure, man. So tapping into Snipers Anonymous, man. I remember before you released it, I remember you was talking about it on your social media before you dropped it. So
Mm-hmm.
I do want to ask you, there's a lot of people that make courses.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you strategically roll out a course? Like what was your purpose of actually having a course? Because I know that you can just do one-on-ones. You can teach people like have a one-on-one session with someone and actually teach them how to trade. But what
Mm-hmm.
was your strategy behind actually creating a course that you can roll out to help more people?
So okay, so you asking the strategy behind it, or the reason? I
Yes.
just want to make sure I answer this correctly.
Right. Like what was your strategy of the reason why you decided to create the course?
So the reason why it stems back to me wanting to help people. And with I'm Academy, like I said, I no knock against them. They introduced me to trading and they taught me the basics, the things that I need to know. But it was so network market heavy, and trading and investing is it's a serious thing. So serious that you don't have time to talk to other people. You can't afford to lose focus. You can't
Mm.
afford to be focused on getting other people to learn how to trade as you're learning how to trade, as you're going through your journey. And so what was happening was a lot of people that trust us were getting started with it and they weren't seeing the results. And it was a lot of things that we were disagreeing with the company and the way that they were teaching. And it was just things that I knew, like they promote a lot of things that they did was to get people in, not to actually make people successful. And
Mm,
once I once I I ran into a particular educator within the course, because they had different educators, and most of the educators, they were hype educators. It was all about excitement and keep people excited, and people would be losing money and still they keep them going with excitement, and I seen something wrong with that. And so I went to the educators that was boring, the educators that wasn't about excitement, the educators that were actually teaching about the institutions, how the markets move, how they actually can see your stop loss. Like basically, I awoke from the matrix, or I awoke to the matrix. And once I understood that this is really what it was, once I started studying, I got the strategy down, I started seeing the results. I was like, this is what it is. This is what people need to be learning. They don't need these tools. They don't need to, like, once you learn this, you won't need the academy anymore. But the incentive was to keep people in the academy, to keep
Right.
people paying, because the incentive is you get a certain rank, you get paid a certain amount. And I seen that. I seen the business model. And I remember talking to my mentor, and I was like, man, we sat down and we was like, man, we feel like we jipping people. Like we was
Mm.
on, we was like, we feel like the way that this, we feel like we jipping people. And he said what he said, and it was a lot of times that they were able to talk us out of and make sense of what was going on, but he couldn't make sense of that to me. And
Right.
so once I learned the real, and I knew that the people that were delivering it, sometimes when you find out, when there's information, it's being delivered by different people, a certain group of people might not want to listen to a certain person or a certain group of people.
Right.
And so I took that information and I created the course myself, because I knew that my people wasn't going to want to listen to this person. I already knew that, because I was pushing them to them. I'm like, look, this is who y'all need to listen to. This is what you need to, and nobody was doing it. And I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. They deaf to it because of who it is, or the sound of the person's voice, or the way that the person talk. A lot of our people, it's unfortunate, but we have to be entertained in order to learn. It's sad, but
Fact.
yeah, we have to be entertained in order to learn. And so I'm not that type of person. I want to get the education. I want to get what's right. So once I got it, took that information, what worked, and I put together my own course.
That's what's up, man. Beautiful.
Something
Beautiful.
that's focused on a specific thing. We not going here. I ain't trying to keep you excited. Look, this is what works. This is what it is. This is going to shorten your journey to becoming successful at trading.
So
Right.
your course really focuses on specifically the skill set and
Yes.
learning how to actually trade, learning how the market moves, learning stop loss, learning how to set it up, learning how to do technical analysis. So all of those things are in your course, correct?
Yes, bro. My students don't need my students don't even need me. I think they just hang around because they like the community, but they don't need me. Except the people that's coming in. But the season, the season snipers that's been doing it, they don't even need me. And that was always the goal. I got a couple people who have went on to make six figures, and then I got some more on the way. I know it's gonna take time, but yeah.
That's
I
right,
just
man.
want to applaud you and give you your flowers now, man, for you to see a need in the marketplace, and
Oh,
you
man.
as a leader and a visionary, to have enough strength and having enough energy and inner power, to carry out that plan, man, because we have ideas all the time, bro. Like, we have
Mhm.
ideas and we have a desire and the will to do things all the time, but to actually execute, you got a real course. Like, you have a real course. Like, somebody, you can send somebody your course right now. You have a hard product. So, like, I
Mm-hmm.
do want to give you your flowers, man, because we don't have that many people that we can reach, that we know in our network, that we can tap into, that has done the things that you've done, bro. So I do
Thank you.
applaud you for
Thank
sure.
Right.
you.
And I really like how, you putting that course together ties into what you said earlier about doing something for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can definitely understand what you're saying about that. What I am, what was the name of it?
Yeah, I'm Academy.
Yeah, I think I had looked into that a while ago because I'm interested in Forex myself. And
So
I was turned off by a lot of the reasons what you just said. And the main one was it was so focused on getting people to sign up, getting people to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I just want to learn the game. I need the game. I
Yep.
ain't trying to get into all that. I just need the game. So I was turned off by that. So you coming in with that, you really executed in finding the need and feeling it. So salute on that, man, for sure.
Thank you,
For
bro.
real, man. We want to get into some investors' questions now, man, because this is an opportunity for you to drop a little value and for us to
Yes.
learn a little thing. I didn't hear you talk any about stocks or anything. So literally, like Forex was the first thing that was the first financial market that you invested in.
Yep. That was my introduction, which is actually the hardest route that you can take into, getting into the financial markets.
Man,
Facts.
oh man.
So speaking to that, from what you know, um,
Mhm.
what's something a beginner investor need to know? Like if a beginner investor was listening to this content, what's something that anybody can take uh from something? Like just say something that anybody can learn something from.
Okay. A beginner investor as somebody who has like a base knowledge of investing, like they they're familiar with it.
Right. Just very minimal though.
Bare minimum. Okay. Um First things first is never invest in if you're going to invest in the stock market, never invest in anything that you don't understand. You should definitely understand it. But the best the best thing and the best way, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this. This is not even my lane, but it is my lane at the same time. The best way to get into the market as an investor is through a whole life insurance policy. Get
Mm,
life insurance. Get a life insurance policy that invests in an index like the S&P 500, because now that's, as an investor, that's going to be your foundation anyway. That should be your foundation. If you managing your own portfolio, you need to have an index that's a basket of stocks of all of the stocks in the American market, right?
mm.
But with the life insurance, now you've instantly increased your net worth. If you get a 100,000, 150,000, $500,000 policy, you've increased your net worth instantly. And these policies, they range from $150 a month, 200. Like, you can choose your policy, but basically you covered if you pass away. Now, your family will be covered. They'll have something. You don't have to start a GoFundMe, but at the same time, you're also involved in the stock market, because through a life insurance policy, which is the only policy that isn't taxable by the United States government, meaning everything that you invest into the S&P 500 or into the stock market, when you take it out later on down the road, that's non-taxable money. It can't be taxed. So that's what I would recommend. It doesn't even have anything to do with actually investing in yourself. Get a whole life insurance policy. Brothers, sisters, get a life insurance policy that's connected to S&P 500, that invest in an index, and cover yourself, and get involved in the stock market that way.
Thank you for that. I learned something from that because I didn't really realize or think about, what the actual insurance companies are investing in after you give them your money. So
Mhm.
really, you really just put me on to actually something to look into because I just thought that you were just supposed to have life insurance, brother. I didn't really think about, where they're putting your money. And you really got to consider where they're investing your money as well. And so I thank you for that partner. I think that, bro, that was a lot. That was a lot of value. I don't
Dope.
really hear a lot
Yep.
of people talk about life insurance, brother.
Yeah, life insurance. That's, like I said, that's not even my lane. I do have I have two policy writers that I deal with. I have two policies. Rachel has a policy, but yeah, got a variable whole life. Definitely look into that, bro. Definitely look into that.
So you only have whole life. You don't have any term lives.
I have a no. I have a variable and then a whole.
What's a variable?
So a variable, it 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 changes. It can change with the stock market. Basically, it changes. It changes with the stock market, and you can you can change it yourself. Like I said, I'm not the expert on it. I have a couple writers who or policy writers, but variable life insurance policy is something that it changes.
And I'm definitely gonna research that. And I think everybody that hear this content need to research this and research it yourself, because everything that we talk about is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, my brother, King Vic, did you have any investment questions for him?
Yes, indeed. Okay, Forex.
Oh,
I've dabbled in Forex. When the pandemic hit, that's when I started to look into it.
mm-hmm.
My lady actually does it as well. She's a lot more consistent than me. But
Dope.
one question that I wanted to ask you was, how do you deal with the emotional aspect of it? Because
Man,
sometimes you'll see the money going here, and it's like, oh God, do I need to pull it out? Do I, you know what I mean? How do you deal with that?
man. So emotions. It take just like anything. Your emotions is like it's like a muscle. Your brain, your emotions is just like a muscle, and you gotta break the muscle down, right? You gotta break your muscles down in order for it to repair itself and come back stronger, so that it can deal with the trauma that you put it through before.
Mm.
And so emotions are the same way in trading foreign exchange. A lot of people just don't know how to practice. They don't know how to build that up. So what I recommend to my students is the way that you train. First, you start with $100 account. You
Mm-hmm.
start with $100 account, and you don't do it to make money. You do it to try to get consistent, because your mistakes gotta outlast your money, or your money have to. I'm sorry, your money has to outlast your mistakes.
Mm.
If you can't grow $100 to $1,000, and you blow $1,000, why would you throw another $1,000 in there? It doesn't make sense. And so what you have to do is you have to rewind, take a step back, don't focus on the money, and really focus on becoming consistent. Now, once you start doing that, of course, you want to set your stop losses, you want to set your take profits, and you want to do your risk management. Is it cool if I ask you, if you do that, if I get personal a little bit?
Do I do stop losses?
Yeah, do you calculate every single trade before you hit that button? Do you know how much? Do you know how much is on the line? How much you willing to lose? Do you know?
No.
Okay, so
In all
so
honesty.
so that's that's the first thing. Like that's one of the ways that you train your emotions. Before you get into a trade, you need to measure the amount of pips to the stop loss, wherever that's going to be. You need to be calculating 1 to 3% of the account. If you trade $100, the maximum should be 3%. Like that's a lot. $3 losing 3% of your account that's really aggressive in my opinion, because I'm not an aggressive trader. So 3%, that means that, okay, I know that if this trade goes in the wrong direction and it hits my stop loss, I'm gonna lose $3. Am I okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
If you okay with that, take the trade. Now, once you in the trade, now you've entered into another phase. Now we in trade management. Now we're managing the trade. And what a lot of people do is they'll sit in front of the screen and they'll watch the screen all day. But if you, but it, and that's what a lot of and that's actually important. It's important to do in the beginning of your journey, because you got to learn how the markets move. But once you get
Right.
to a certain point, you set your stop loss and your take profit. You should be able to shut your computer screen or turn your phone off and go about your life, because one of the goals of trading for forex is to become free. But you're not
Right.
free if you sitting in front of the screen all day. So do that and close it, let it go, set an alarm. If you're not already on trading view, invest in your craft and pay for trading view, not the free version. Get the version where you can actually put alarms on your markups. So
Mm.
now I got my take profit, my stop loss set. I got an alarm that says take profit hit or take profit about to get hit, stop loss about to get hit or stop loss hit. If an alarm doesn't go off, I have no reason to look at my phone. I have no reason to check that trade.
Right.
And this is how you practice really self control, discipline. It's a lot of other things that you got to practice, but that's definitely one tip that I can give you is before you go into a trade, know exactly how much you're willing to risk, agree with that amount. If you're okay with losing that, be okay with losing that. Set it and let it go, and practice doing that.
Good stuff, man. Real good stuff.
Yeah, for real, man. Great stuff. I was only in Forex very briefly, but you basically just told me the investor that I was. Like, cause I definitely would just sit in front of the screen. Like, you'll take a trade. I never had a live account. I was working on a demo account, but even still, like I was treating the demo account like it was my money. So I'm sitting there watching the screen, and I'm still not like I'm still like a slave. Like you said, like you still can be a slave to it at the same time because you're not mentally free. Like you took the trade and you might be making a little bit of money, but consciously and psychologically you always thinking about that trade you taking. So like that's really where the freedom starts in your mind. So it's like it's not about, oh, I don't work a job or I get to stay home all day, but really it's like doing what you're doing. If you're not mentally free, then you still working.
Exactly.
So yeah, tapping in, brother. I appreciate all the knowledge that you dropped for us and the story that the story and the testimony that you told. So tapping into our next segment on We Invest Different podcast. On this segment, we call What You Learn. And on this segment, each of us talk about something that we recently learned that will add value to somebody's life. So we're gonna go around the room. I'll go first. One thing that I learned recently, man, is I'm learning how important it is to keep God first. Um, Literally, I have my ups and downs, and I'm finding out that the further you get away from God, the further you get away from betterment, the further you get away from improvement, the further you get away from leveling up like we want to do so bad, the further you get away from achieving your goals. This is in my opinion because I know a lot of people don't live by the same belief system. So a lot of people do wrong and do evil, and they still believe that good is going to happen. But see, in my belief system, I believe in God, and I believe that I should be doing my purpose. I should be working on my purpose every day, and I should be shining my light throughout the world every day. So I'm learning that when I'm not doing that, when I'm not living the will of God, when I'm not living my purpose, my life goes down. So I got to always make sure that I'm aligned with the higher power so that everything that I want to do, everything that I want to try could also be aligned with him and be successful.
That's right, man.
Man,
Good stuff.
yeah, everything you just said.
Real good stuff.
Everything you just said.
Anybody want to anybody tap in after?
Yeah, I'll go next. Save our guess for last. Um, One thing that I've been learning is that I need to continue to learn because sometimes I'll gain some new information and I'll get so caught up in applying it that I'm not taking time to continue to learn. Simple as that. That's all I got to say. That's it, man.
And if I could piggyback on that real quick, man, that sounds a lot like what I was going through with trading. So I would learn a little bit, and then I would go start trading my money off of this little thing that I learned. And
Right.
I would be getting negative results, and then I'm like, oh, I got more to learn, and then I would go learn, and then I would come back and I would get a little better, and then so that, man, that's facts.
Word.
That's facts.
Word. How about you, Delante? You learned something this week or this month, something that's really standing out for you as far as what you learned?
Actually, I have. I was gonna touch on what John said. but he covered everything. He covered everything that I was gonna say. So for the sake of adding value, something different, I'm actually shifting my focus of what I'm about to start putting out on social media and teaching, even though, I understand stocks, I understand foreign exchange, I can teach these things. My market is us. I'm focused on Black people. I'm not even gonna lie. I know all money is green and things like that, but I'm really focused on helping our community. And so,
Yes.
with that being said, I've realized that I've been bringing this skill set of trade and foreign exchange, the skill set of investing in the stock market and getting involved in, the financial markets to a people where a majority are not financially literate and don't have control over their emotions. A person that doesn't have control over their emotions can't control their money. And
Right.
so I'm about to start focusing on helping people budget, learning how to budget money, because that's the beginning. Before you can allot money to investments, and into you have to learn how to control your money. You have to learn how to manage your money. You have to know how to manage your money. How can you manage a trading account? How can you manage an investment portfolio if you can't manage your house's your house's income? And so that's something that I've learned from reading that book Powernomics, which is one of the books that I listed, Dr. Claude Anderson. And so that's something that I've learned about myself and about our people, is that the foundation and where we need to start is at home, learning how to control our emotions and learning how to control our own finances before we get into investing.
Whew, man,
Yes,
that's
sir.
pivotal. That's very pivotal. Man, we need that. Thank you, King, for seeing that. Thank God for that. So
Sir.
going into the next segment, which is our last segment before we close everything out, we have what we call the financial theme of the month and also the financial lesson of the month. And for the month of September, we were talking about investing into things that will give you the opportunity to see things that you've never seen before. So, and I know that when we're talking about investing, we mostly talk about, our minds goes to money. Our mind go to, ROI and return of investment. But money isn't the only thing that we can invest in. You also can invest into relationships. You also can invest into your network. You also can invest into your team. You can invest into your knowledge. It's so many other things that you can invest in before you get to the place where you be a successful investor. And honestly, I feel like investing into those other things outside of money is what's going to get you to the place to be good at investing things to do with money.
Mhm.
So it's really focusing on the foundation. So if anybody have anything to add on the financial thing of the month, feel free.
Nah,
Uh,
you covered it on my end.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. Are y'all in Atlanta or Carolina?
Yeah, I'm in College Park.
College Park, yeah, Atlanta. So they just had the event down there. I don't know if it was called Invest Fest or if it's the Circle of CEOs.
Both of them.
But okay, so the one with Justin Owens, Nehemiah
CEO.
Davis, bruh, I wanted to be there so bad. And when when it comes to events like that, I remember when I was doing network marketing, I hated going to events like that. I couldn't stand it. I really I couldn't. I felt like I was wasting my money. I'm like, man, why we gotta travel here? Why we gotta spend this money? Like, I just want to, run the business. But I realized, this whole time since we've gotten away from I'm Academy, one thing that I can say, Justin Owens he's a great mentor, great leader. You need that mentorship. You need that mentorship. It's like you really don't stop ever needing it, because it's always somebody that's done more than you and that knows more than you and that can teach you something. And a lot of times when we feel stuck in our business and we feel like we're not moving, it's because we don't have the right mentorship. And when I seen this event, I was telling Rachel, we over here in Africa now. I'm like, man, that would have been an event that I would have invested my money into. We would have went to, and I would have sat down and got value. So as far as investing in things outside of, just focusing on money, things that can get you to where you want to be. Any events like that, I believe in investing in your personal development.
And there you go. And there you go, kings and queens, man. We appreciate everybody for tapping in to We Invest Different Conversation number 31 with King Delante Brady. We went over a number of things. We went over his story and his process of how he became who he is today. We went over, situations that he overcame in his life. We went over his work career. We went over, him meeting a queen that catapulted him into believing in himself on another level, which is very pivotal. We also talked about, I Am Academy. We talked about the trading course that King had created. We talked about a number of things, and the main message of the show is to tell you guys that he went through all of these things, right, to get to where he is today. So we have to kill the myth of success being an overnight thing. We have to kill the myth of get rich quick schemes. We have to kill the myth of that, entrepreneurship is all about sunny days and clear skies. And it's not. So everything is a journey, and it's all about your belief system. It's all about your faith. It's all about your drive and your vision. So with that being said, I appreciate King Delante for hopping on this call. I appreciate King Victor for being my co-host, and we tackling this thing together. We literally just had an international conversation. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
We woke up at 4 a.m. this morning because, the King, he transitioned from Ohio and moved to Tanzania, Africa, which is such an amazing thing. We didn't tap into that because, of time. But of course, y'all can tap into his profile, and we're going to give King a chance to tell you guys where to find him.
Okay. So Delante Nova Brady is my Facebook. I can be found on Facebook at Delante Nova Brady. My wife is Rachel Hannah Walker. If you're interested in, healing your body, getting into living a healthier lifestyle, on Instagram, she's Vegan Auntie. And then myself is I_rarely_miss. I rarely miss on IG. Website is bpgrinc.com. That's where you're going to find the consultation services for investing, budgeting, PAM accounts, which is a big one. And then snipersanonymous.com if you're interested in learning how to trade like a master trader, to really learn the truth about trading. Snipersanonymous.com. That's snipers with a 3, not an E.
Thank you, King. Thank you for gracing us with your knowledge. Thank you for
Thank
all
y'all.
that. For sure. And I can't wait to have the Queen on it because I want to get, the Queen on one, and I also want to do one with y'all collectively. So we'll definitely be back again to get some more knowledge. And I know you got more to say because this was just the tip of the iceberg. But definitely enjoyed this, man, and I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, King.
Right. Thank you. Same here. Thank you, Vic. Thank you, John, again for giving me the opportunity to come on this platform and share some value.
For sure.
Right.
Anything you got left, King Vic?
Hey, man, I just want to tell the people, remember God all day long if you can. Remember God.
Amen.
Right.
Now that's 1, 2, 3. Kings is out. We'll see y'all next week for conversation number 32, and we gone.
Peace.